le producía más pasión? ¿Cuáles fueron las novelas que más lo marcaron? Dostoyevsky, ¿quiénes fueron los primeros encuentros que lo enamoraron de la novela como género?
Tolstoy, Dostoevsky, they were speaking as if they were sitting next to me, and they all sounded so convincing, so deep. Novels did not only teach me other lives, other peoples, other cultures, that humanity is more or less similar everywhere. Novels also teach me how to form my spirit. At the age of 19, 20, I was reading novels also to make myself a good person. And I think I also always argued this is a third world way of reading, you know, not only you read to learn literature or entertain yourself and learn, but also you have a great desire to quote civilized, to be more civilized, to be more developed, to be a good person really. So I was almost eating books, you know, in Neruda, in his I confess that I have lived, had a sentence that I like that he says, and I was at that time reading like everything, and I read his book also translated immediately, that I read this sentence, oh, there are so many books in the world, how do we read all of them? Why don't we cook them and eat them? He said that in his imagination. I really liked it, for example, when I was reading that much at that age.
Bueno, usted tiene elementos en común con Neruda. En muchas de sus novelas son muy importantes las cocinas. Por ejemplo, Me llamo Rojo. Son tan importantes como los talleres, los pintores, las cocinas, donde se conversa y se prepara parte importante de la intriga. Y también la faceta de coleccionista de Neruda, que vamos a comentar al final del programa. Usted también es un coleccionista. Y hay una frase de Neruda en esa misma memoria en donde él dice, mi vida está hecha de las otras vidas. Yo he hecho mi vida a partir de las otras vidas. Blaise Cendrars, que es un escritor francés, un día en un museo ve una pintura de Gerard de Nerval, del que hablábamos recién, que estuvo en Estambul. Y en el cuadro abajo había una frase de Gerard de Nerval que decía, je et autre, un otro, yo soy un otro. Y ahí Blaise Cendrars tiene una iluminación, una epifanía, y decide transformarse en escritor. Y usted ha dicho que de alguna manera ser escritor es descubrir ese otro Orhan que estaba escondido en una parte en Estambul. ¿Qué significa eso? ¿Quién es ese otro? ¿Y cómo ha sido su relación con ese otro Orhan?
First of all, now that you talked about Neruda and objects, I like Neruda's poetry, especially when he suddenly notices the objects in daily life, and I'm that kind of, or hope to be that kind of novelist. Now you say, talking about, Ramba also had words to the effect that I am the other, that I have, my tendency as a novelist is a desire to identify with others. In my naive and sentimental novelists, and all of my essays argue that the art of the novel is based on one strong human strength. We human beings have the power to identify with the pain of others, to see the world through the point of view of others. We can do that. And I think, I don't know, and once we end, the art of the novel, which I am a humble servant of, is based on this human strength. And when you ask me politics, thank God you're not asking me, I say that politics in literature is only that, not our party cards, or who are we voting for, or who are we backing in the next elections. It is a man tries to see the world through the point of view of a woman, is a very political thing indeed. A man who tries to see, or a middle-class man who tries to understand the copper miner in Chile is doing an ethical and political thing, although it's a very hard thing too. Because it's a hard thing because you're not that person, while it's a very humane and respectful thing that you are trying to do that, and you are also expecting that there will be readers who will also want to identify with the copper miner. So there is this sense in a novelist's spirit of a desire to be like someone else, which is very ethical, I think, and turns out to be political. Also, there is another sense of the other, that I'm not happy with myself, that I think that I wish I were born into an other family, other people, a sort of a more related with personal expression and fantasy and one's imagination. This is more poetic and self-expressive. I like the classical theme of doppelganger, that is, the twins, that there is a person in the world like us. E.T.A. German writer E.T.A. Hoffmann, Edgar Allan Poe, Pushkin, Nabokov, and our Borges all wrote about this. Everyone had its, and I also wrote a book, but this time I based it on this map, in a way, east-west. I wrote a doppelganger double story and based it on eternal history of Turkey. Are we traditional Muslim?
El Castillo Blanco, ¿no?
Yes, that's White Castle, yes. So I have I'm interested in otherness, but in very, very different motivations. Once you have this desire to be other, then you have a desire to be write about, as I did in book Snow, about the Islamic fundamentalist who wants to kill. Now, being a novelist is identifying with others.